The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hey, Colton.
Hey, Troy. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a bright, beautiful, sunny day here in BC. How's Alberta treating you?
Pretty good. It's been raining this week, but overall it's been pretty good. Calgary's so weird because it'll get like insanely hot, like crazy hot, and then it'll suddenly get like crazy cold, like because we're close to the mountains. So it's like it fluctuates like sometimes 20, 30 degrees in like a day. So it's just like ridiculous. It happens all the time. So
Yeah, it's crazy how that change in elevation can suddenly just make everything so different, and it just makes its own weather.
yeah, where you're in Kamloops, right?
I am.
Yeah, that's like a desert out there, man. It gets friggin' hot there. Actually the golf course, I think it's called the Desert.
I think it is, actually.
It's on the way to Barrier there or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Played there, or the Dunes, it's called.
Yes, I have passed by the dunes a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, that is like I spent a day out there golfing. I think it was 42 degrees or something. Like fucking insane. I was gonna die.
Yeah, my apartment reached a solid 28 degrees last week.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went and picked up a fan the next day.
Yeah, no kidding. So very cool. Hey, is our orientation okay for you?
If you guys could slide a little bit towards Troy's side of the couch, just a little bit, just so that Joni doesn't get cut off, much better. All
It's
right.
like you just defined our marriage.
Yeah,
Just so
exactly.
Joni doesn't get cut off.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
It's important to make sure that both sides of the relationship, right?
I like
Exactly.
it. I like it.
Mhm.
Awesome. And of course, this is my first time meeting Joni. So hello, Joni.
So nice to meet you. Hi.
Hello. And how are you this lovely day?
Peachy keen. Just another day in the pandemic bubble, but we're making it work.
Making it work, and hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully the end goal might be in sight where we might be able to return to live shows and all of those other fun things. So the future looks bright.
Yeah.
I love your optimism.
I love your positivity. All right, and we're here to dive into a little bit of work that you've both been doing, because of course, Troy, past guest of the show, and Joni has her own solo musician work, but now, after years of working together as songwriters, as producers, and otherwise, now the decision to finally combine your paths, your creative energies in terms of actually releasing music together with Scarlett Butler is here. So, when did this decision come to be?
Well, we've been spending a lot of time together here at home, as everybody probably has during the pandemic. And we just kind of, our solo stuff was obviously kind of came to a bit of a halt. We've been threatening to do this for years. And, a lot of people have, when we got married, our officiant accidentally called us Trony instead of Troy and Joni. And so for a long time, people have been asking when are we going to start the Trony band. And we just decided to kind of go for it. We were spending lots of time here together at home making music. And we just thought, now's a good time. Why not? The music industry in the middle of a pandemic is a great space to throw another log on the fire.
It's been a time where a lot of us have had to adapt, but also has given a lot of us time to maybe use a lot of that creative energy because we're not spending so much time on the road, right?
Exactly. And I think the thing is for us is that we started out our careers really as songwriters. Like back when we got into the business, because we got a song on a record, and it had lots of success, and we were working full time at the city, and it was kind of like when things blew up with this, we kind of were suddenly thrust into the songwriting world. And over the years, we've written a lot of songs with artists for their projects. And so when it came to this project, one of the things we thought is, man, we've got a pretty big catalog of songs that we really love that just maybe didn't fit the artist at the time or didn't make the record. So we're going to be using a lot of that material to intersperse into our release strategies as we move forward. So, which is fun, you know.
Wow. So sort of taking that opportunity to go back and find some of those songs that maybe are very good songs, but maybe didn't fit a vibe or a specific artist or whatever the case happened to be. So bringing them new life.
Yeah, which is really great, and we're excited about that. I think mostly because a lot of times when you write songs for artists, you get attached to the songs, and then when they don't find a home, it can be a little frustrating because if you're constantly having to go out and find a home for them, it's nice to be able to release them on our own and to be able to have a little bit of creative control around it.
That's also something that, like you say, also very nice to have creative control. And this internet age, this streaming age, definitely has given a lot more people the opportunity to have exactly that while still taking their music worldwide.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. All right. So you mentioned that you guys are taking some of the past songs that this songwriting duo has crafted, but the first track, your first single that you release, has obviously been based around this past year with Looking for a Lockdown with You, a very fun song indeed, and also happen to have a couple friends on it. So what was the idea to sort of do sort of this very relative to the past year, but still very, very fun track before digging into that backlog?
Yeah, we actually, it was sort of all a whim a little bit. We had some friends at radio who reached out to us and said, we really want to do a gig for the show, for the radio show. It was Greg and Stella at CFCW, and they really wanted to do kind of like a fun, lighthearted thing. And because of our song Pickup Truck was relatively lighthearted, they were like, let's go for something kind of fun and funny, and everybody could use a bit of a levity right now. And obviously, it was in the pits of winter, and we were all feeling a little cooped up. So we kind of took that and ran with it and wrote a kind of a pandemic love song. And it's the first time I've ever, as a songwriter, used the words toilet paper in a song. So I felt really good about that. That felt really good for us to be able to have some fun with it. And yeah, and then, we just really wanted to do something good with it. And so did our friends at radio. And so we brought in some extra muscle. So we brought in Dwayne Steele and Michelle Wright and Aaron Goodvin and CBC Heartland's Amber Marshall, who is a great performer as well, and had a lot of fun recording it. And then we were able to do some good with it. So we raised some money for Unison Benevolent Fund, and that was pretty rewarding as a kind of a first opportunity to go out to radio with something.
No, and you say a little bit of money, but I mean, my goodness, 5 digits at breaking $10,000, which is pretty incredible for something that started as just sort of a fun track for a radio station. So not only just getting to have fun with maybe writing some lyrics you normally wouldn't have the chance to do or wouldn't think of, but then also being able to take that back and put it back into the community, knowing that the communities have had quite a bit of trouble in this past year plus, including the musician community as well.
Yeah. And that was the great thing about the charity that we were supporting, is that we know people that have benefited that, in a time like this when musicians aren't working, if for some reason they come into, further financial troubles or medical issues, the Unison Benevolent Fund helps them directly by giving them, money for food or rent. And it's just really, really great that we were able to raise, some groups, $10,000 for people that are in that situation. And like I say, a lot of people that we have met have been able to benefit from it, especially this past year. So
And it's not just the on stage talent. What I love about Unison is it's everybody from the lighting crew to the bus driver whose gigs have dried right up and that they're not able to do their job from home. This is an opportunity. This fund that Unison will support them. And this is not a new thing. Obviously, it's even more acute during the pandemic, but Unison's there for our live music industry every day of every year. And so we're really grateful to help our industry help others. So.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you touch on that because, as you guys said earlier, you started as songwriters, and maybe artists still have the chance to do live streams and other things where maybe touring revenue's been cut, but they still can stay connected to fans where, like you say, there's lighting people, there's people who drive like equipment or run equipment, there's sound techs. There's so many different pieces and aspects of this music industry other than the artist. So it's good that they're taking the steps to help more than just the artist.
Totally.
Yeah, we're really grateful for them. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Definitely, without a doubt. So moving forward from being able to do good with that. So this next track, Love Me Like California, was that one of those backlog tracks that you guys took out and you said, this is a gem, this has to be the first single? Or how did this one come together?
Well, I was on an airplane to Nashville to do some songwriting, and I'm sure I looked a little bit like a crazy person singing into my phone, but that was the only thing that, is audible on the voice note is, oh, you love me like California. And took that down to some songwriter friends of mine, Bill DeLuigi and Heidi Ray, who's another Canadian. And we had a lot of fun sort of writing it. I don't think we had any expectations about kind of who would record it, but just, when it came time to put out our own stuff, we have, as lots of material to choose from, but being a married couple, we were like, let's put in a love song. It's just nice. There's not a lot of like love songs that aren't ending in like, in tragedy all the time in country music. So we figured, first time out of the gate, we did a pandemic love song. Let's do a non-pandemic love song. And we actually honeymooned along the coast in California and Oregon. And so for me, that song brings me right back to our honeymoon and just,
Yeah, it's very relevant to us too, because we spend almost every summer, before the pandemic, we would take a trip down to the coast and we spend time there a lot. So we love it. So
yeah, happy place.
So it's not just a place that has a lot of good memories and moments for you too. It allows the audience to maybe be introduced a little further into this couple with, as you say, a non-pandemic love song, because obviously love existed before the pandemic and will exist long after.
Yeah.
Yeah. No toilet paper or Zoom in this song.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. Yeah.
I love it. I love it for sure. So did you guys record this recently then together inside of your guys' own studio? Because I know that you happen to produce as well.
Yeah, you bet. So after the song was written, I immediately put together what we call a demo, which is really just a simpler version of a radio song. And, the team loved it. And so when it came time for us when we decided that we wanted to release this, I just basically put the full effort into having it produced. And so I think all of the parts are me. I think the band is myself and Joni, and that's it. So, which is handy in this time in history, because of course we can't have a bunch of musicians coming into the studio. So
we don't have to socially distance with one another.
Yeah.
So, it's good to be self-contained.
Yeah, you bet.
Already right there, right?
Yeah.
In our pajama bottoms and slippers.
Yeah,
perfect.
A lot of times, yeah.
Nice and comfortable. That's how you capture that true real energy, right?
Exactly, yeah. 100%.
I love it. I love it. So you mentioned the difficulty of being able to bring other people into the studio or otherwise. So do you guys have a music video planned for this track maybe, or has that exact same situation maybe pushed things like that a little bit back?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange times, as you know. We're kind of like with one foot in the future and one foot kind of in the reality of where we're at today. So we are working on some music videos stuff, but more probably be a scaled back kind of environment. We want to be safe. We want everyone on our team to be safe as well, and so we will be putting out probably a lyric video with some footage, but it won't be a full music video, just to respect kind of where we're at in our little world. But yeah, we always have a lot of fun when it comes to kind of bringing this stuff to life. And as you know, Troy is a fairly creative guy, animator, and loves to make videos. So we couldn't not put out a video.
Okay, so does this mean that you did the work on the lyric video yourself there then, Troy?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that when it comes to any sort of visual media that we have, whether it's videos or live videos or lyric videos, I think we're always going to be involved and have our hands in it. It doesn't mean that we'll always do all of the work, but I think for us, because especially with songs like the songs that we're putting out ourselves, I feel like we definitely have a vision and, in terms of what we want it to look like. So we're definitely a DIY business company in that sense. So.
All right, because I know that we've discussed some of your creativity with some of your other music videos before. So that makes me excited to see whatever might be coming our way, no matter what happens. Because even if it's just some of your ideas, I know that you're going to be putting a lot of creativity behind these ideas.
Yeah, you bet.
We're hands-on, just not in a creepy way.
Well, I mean, you guys are a couple too, so if you're working with each other, then...
It's a good point. It's a really good point.
That's fair. That's fair.
I love it. So, of course, we mentioned that it's been a little bit difficult to move through this past year. And like you say, one foot into the future, one foot sort of out. And it's difficult to sort of plan for the future. We've discussed music videos. Live events might be potentially returning soon here as well. So what does the rest of 2021 potentially hold here for Scarlett Butler?
Yeah, well, I think that, the crystal ball is a little bit rusty in terms of the live music industry. It is starting to come back. Like you say, we're talking to, we've got a few emails in terms of shows and things like that. But I think everyone is taking a very respectful and modified approach forward. And so that's kind of, we definitely want to get out and play songs for people again when the time is right. So I would say, and then we're also working on writing. Obviously, as writers, we write. So we've been writing with artists for their projects, but also for Scarlett Butler, and looking at kind of what comes after California. And, I'd like, when the borders are open, it would be really great to go back to California.
100%. We're already thinking about it. It's like, when are the borders opening?
Yeah, when can we go somewhere fun?
It's a real thing. Us traveling out to the West Coast is it's a bit of an obsession. So
yeah. So I think for us, it's just actually establishing some of those relationships as artists, as you said, transitioning from our place in the business as songwriters, and reminding people that, we're doing this new thing. And also, like I said, we hope to do at least some form of shows in the fall. Working on kind of building up towards an EP. So that's been a big priority for us, and just doing life a little bit as we can, what kind of life we haven't been able to do past our front yard. So we're stoked about that too. Yeah. Just be able to be.
Also known as puzzles.
That's true. We have done a lot of jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, I mean, they're a good way to fill time, so I can't blame you, and always a pretty picture behind them too, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And of course, it's very, very important to balance all of these things, like you say, with the songwriting, making sure that not just Scarlett Butler gets its respectful time in the sun, but also both of your solo ventures as well. So, how do you guys sort of go about making sure that everything gets its proper time in exactly that, the California sun?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
I think part of it too is a lot of times the opportunities show themselves. So, we've had this opportunity with this time to work on this project, but I feel like what'll end up happening is that we'll be able to make sure that, when Joni's project comes out, or when my next project comes out, which I'm working on right now, that we try to balance it and to make sure that, because the nice thing about it is whether, if I'm doing shows or she doing shows, or we're doing shows together collectively, it benefits us as a music business no matter what. So, I think it's just a matter of following the opportunities that fall out of that come from the work that we do. So,
Part of the reason that we named ourselves Scarlett Butler is, one of my favorite movies and books is called Gone with the Wind, and the main character is Scarlett O'Hara, and the other main character's name is Rhett Butler. Most people remember those characters as separate, but actually, when they were married, her name was Scarlett Butler, and so we, for that, what we wanted to do was pick a name that identified that we had separate musical kind of personas, that we can still do our own pieces, but that this is a piece that we do together, and that we have something where our passion kind of overlaps, that we can still do our own projects, but come together in this way. And so, yeah, you'll still see more of us. It's a lot of balance, as you say. We don't sleep as much. We don't sleep in on Saturday mornings,
no.
but it takes a lot of effort. But one of the things that I love about our relationship is that we both pool our talents to try to help the other succeed. And that's it's been really awesome to work on this Scarlett Butler together, because we can pool our talents. And as you know, anytime that there's shared creative energy, the work goes faster. It's way more fun to work with somebody that you love and that you appreciate and respect. And it just means that we have, another thing that we're rowing the canoe in the same direction. So to use a bad analogy, as songwriters tend to do.
Oh, hey, sometimes those cliche lines are the perfect way to get a point across. So nothing wrong with it at all, right?
Okay.
Awesome. I have had a blast diving behind this new group, Scarlett Butler. And I love the story behind the name there, because definitely taking that time to make sure that both pieces of this jigsaw puzzle get to make a complete picture together, even though they already are a complete picture, which is very, very beautiful. So now what I would like to ask is my last question is, as these two different pieces of this jigsaw puzzle, how has this time of deciding to release music as Scarlett Butler work together, not just as songwriters anymore, but also as a duo, musically creating and recording this music? How has it helped each of you to grow as human beings, or what has it taught you about yourselves?
I think the best thing about doing this project together is being able to appreciate what Joni brings to the table. I mean, I have been working on the music production side, as you know, Colton, for the last few years, and trying to develop that. And Joni has an expertise in PR and marketing. So I think for us, being able to work together and then appreciate sort of like, wow, like this really is helpful, and that we're able to sort of get a better appreciation of not only what each other's doing, but then to understand that it's like, wow, my wife's pretty smart. It's like, that's pretty cool. I love.
You shouldn't sound surprised.
I
by
know.
this.
I'm not saying that, I was like, it's a surprise, but it's nice to be able to do something, because it is challenging. It is challenging to put music out and to have people, hear it, and to make sure you're sending it to the right folks, and to make sure you deliver it to the world in a way that's strategically is done correctly. And so, but having working together on it, I think has really helped us, understand that process better, but also appreciate each other.
Yeah. And I think for me, I would say that as we transition, when you're a songwriter, probably not great, that a lot of people don't know the songwriters behind the songs. So this is kind of required as artists for us to step into a little bit of a different limelight. And that comes with, a little bit of anxiety about just, the realities that our artists have to go through. And so, instead of just being able to, kick back with our guitars and create music, we're now working on music videos and other pieces. But I think what I've learned from this process, and your comment about growing, is that this music should be fun. And so every day we wake up, and even if we are dealing with the less fun parts of the business, it's a reminder that this is what we love to do. You can go and get a job that you don't love anywhere. So if you choose to do music, and I believe it's a gift, if we have this gift, to honor that gift by making it benefit other people, which is partly why we partnered with Unison earlier this year, and just trying to do it from a place of love instead of a place of ego, and reminding each other and kind of cheering each other on when it's not as easy, or as when it gets hard or less fun.
And I think definitely I concur with that thought of.
So you concur?
I do.
I love it.
I know.
Concur.
It's the songwriter thing. But it's so true, that idea of, we songwrite and produce, and we get to hide behind our computers. But now it's like, we're putting this music on, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to do, a video series for this thing. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. Like, our faces and our voices are going to be, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's
we're doing a podcast with Colton. I have to brush my hair.
We have to look good. I can't just wear my, so it's a little bit of an adjustment. And it's also sort of it's an ego check, and it's reminding ourselves that we're doing this because it's joyful, and to kind of keep that mindset. That's definitely a growing point for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's very important, as you say, as you move into the business, as you do the unfun parts of the music business, because it's very important if you want to get to the fun parts, like getting the feedback from fans saying, oh my God, I love this song, being able to play the live shows and everything else. There's a process that goes into it. So it's very important to remember those fun moments and to work towards them, and to have that support network, whether it be like that relationship, or whether it's between a band or an artist and a manager, or whatever it happens to be, but to work through that to make sure that you guys can enjoy the fun moments together. And then those are the memories you get to create and make and take with you later on.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
And this, I should clarify, this is a fun moment.
This is totally fun.
This is the fun moment of our day. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you.
Oh, well, I have appreciated both of you. And trust me, I've also had a ton of fun here as well. And I want to thank you both, Joni and Troy, for joining me here today on the Desert Tiger podcast.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Colton.